Welcome to Dungeons and Dragons and Dummies, a weekly podcast following a group of friends as they battle across a homebrewed world called Interiath in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. All right, I need a recap.
You need a recap, boy.
Oh, Batman recap.
Okay, in the previous session, we started out on the 29th of Harvest at 6 a.m. In the guild hall, Bushy explains that we got somewhere between...
Bushy!
I'm sorry, I couldn't let it go.
What happened?
You said Bushy instead of Bushy.
Oh, yeah, never mind.
Oh my. You have
There's a
special relationship with Bushy?
There is a pal in Power World named Bushy, and it's spelled the same, and everybody's been saying it Bushy.
I've been ripped off.
A lot of people have been calling it Bussy.
Oh, Bussy. That's far less palatable.
Call up Nintendo. We want in on this lawsuit.
Yeah, we want it. Make it a class action.
Okay, so we're in the guild hall, and Bushi explains that we got either 240, 2400, or 240,000 of something.
What
are you talking about?
2,400. 2,400 gold is being offered for your next quest.
Yeah, but that wasn't what was initially said. So the scribbles all over my nose to get the right number.
24,000. We were all like, whoa.
So that is
it's like a
to
whole
go to
city's GDP for a year. Okrajest. Oh, you nailed it.
To deal with changed beasts, and we need to report to Baron Shunfire, not Cuntfire, who is the leader of the local militia, and he's a very intense, militant military man. So we then purchased a few potions of greater healing.
This is the most unhinged recap.
I'm glad we were both thinking it.
I tried to tell you all that I'm not okay.
You're okay. Oh, you are not well. You just struggle through. It's all good.
Keep going. It's good. It's good.
So then we left on the 29th of Harvest at 8 a.m. And then on the 32nd of Harvest in the morning, we're peacefully strolling down the way when we are ambushed by not one, not three, but more than 6 orcs.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
We then murdered them.
One of them was riding something.
One of them was riding a boar that was absolutely fucking shat upon by the Drekbimbo.
Yeah, y'all didn't even get to see its cool things.
Don't care. We know what scruffies can do. So, 2 of the orcs tried to retreat and escape, and before they could go and warn their fellow orcish people, Shadow and Talluk chased them down, and Starlight almost got murdered, not the strip club, the horse, and all the orcs died.
Yeah, we chased down the last 2. That's right. I forgot about that part.
Yeah. That's right where we will pick up. Yeah. What do you guys want to do? You got a couple dead orcs at your feet.
I think since I'm half orc, I would be curious. I would hop off my horse. I want to bend down and investigate these 2 bodies, see if I can find anything that identifies them or anything like that.
Yeah. So actually, you had done the check last time in the middle of the fight, and were able to identify that the war paint that they had on them was from the Strom clan.
Strom, okay.
Yep.
Strom clan.
Yeah.
What do I know about the Strom clan?
You know that they're one of the major tribes in Mekzim. They mostly stick to the woods, forest-dwelling tribe that is known to roam through and do, ambushes and raids and things like that. Guerrilla warfare tactics sort of group.
Shadow, this looks like the Strom tribe. They're known for this kind of ambush in these woods here. I don't know if there's anything more to it than just orcs being orc.
Shadow's petting Starlight, and it's like, Strom, huh? As he just casually, occasionally reaches over with his glaive and stabs it into the chest of the orc that hit Starlight. Strom, S-T-R-O-M?
Nothing else of interest on their bodies or anything? Not a note from an evil genius telling them to come kill us?
Yeah, why don't y'all make me an investigation check?
Okay.
The other thing you would know, Talluk, is the leader's name, which is, her name is Hela Strom, H-E-L-E Strom.
Hela Strom, okay, I think I shared that with the guys. I only got a 7 on investigation.
Yeah, so you find a few silver on these guys. They don't seem to have much money. Shadow or Elirlok, did y'all roll investigation?
Oh, sorry, I thought I said it 17.
Oh, 17. So, Elirlok, as you're looking around, you notice some tracks leading off to the east, and you actually see in the distance a little camp over there. This seems to be a makeshift spot where the orcs were probably set up.
Before y'all check that out, do we want to go check the bodies of the other guys? See if there's anything valuable?
Yeah.
We'll just roll this all into one big check.
Okay.
So you check out all the bodies and loot around. So the big guy does have something cool. He has a potion on him. It's got some little pebbles floating around in the bottom of it.
I ride over and search his body and grab it and come riding him back up.
So all in all, y'all are going to find 60 silver. These guys really don't have much in the way of money on them. You find that potion, and then in the camp, you find a spell scroll and a familiar-looking satchel bag like the one that Talluk carries around. You find another bag of holding.
Doesn't Elirlok have one?
Does Elirlok
do.
have a bag of holding? So it
Yep.
sounds like we know who the third one needs to go to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's exciting.
What was the spell scroll?
Why don't y'all make me an Arcana check on the scroll and the potion?
Okay.
Everyone?
Yeah, y'all can pass them around and figure out who knows what it is.
Well, it's definitely not going to be me with a 6.
8.
6.
Come on, Shadow. Y'all aren't sure what either of these are.
All right, I'll hold on to these 2 things until we can figure out what they are. Spend a little more time.
Okay.
So I got a strange spell scroll and a potion with rocks in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Any other clues as to what these guys are doing, or we think they were just out raiding, just doing what they do?
Yeah, rolling over Joey's good investigation check from earlier, you see that these guys this camp hasn't been here very long. Recently set up. There's not a lot of trampled dirt or anything around here. It looks like they probably set up just last night, in fact. No indication that they were waiting a long time or had any particular goal in mind.
Yeah, so Shadow is going to try to see if he can see any tracks to determine which direction the orcs came from.
Sure, make me a survival check.
I was hoping you were going to say that. Oh my god.
It is hilly enough here. I'm going to say that this counts as feathery terrain. You can have advantage.
Oh, let's go. Oh my god. 11.
11. These guys weren't particularly careful or anything coming in. They had a big boar with them. It's not too hard to discover a few cracked limbs and some tracks heading off north. Seems to run kind of parallel to the road.
Okay, so I say we just head back to the road and continue on our way.
Plenty of daylight ahead.
Yep, following y'all.
All right. So y'all head back to the road and start plodding along. The rest of the day goes by without incident. Everything goes smoothly. Y'all don't quite make it to Okrajest or any civilization for that matter, and are going to have to bed down for the night, it's looking like.
Okay.
Okay. Start making a little camp.
All right.
Okay, so long rest.
Yes, so y'all go ahead and give yourself a long rest. But as you do so, I'd like us to take a little trip to a place that I like to call Imagination Land. It's been a minute since we had a visit. Everybody, close your eyes. Imagine you're feeling warm sun beam down on your skin, a gentle breeze, the smell of warm grasses swishing in the breeze. Open your eyes and we see a young girl with bare but boyish features running through golden wheat fields, her loose-fitting blouse and skirt effortlessly flowing as she bobs and bounces along, until she comes to a small pool of ink-black water. From the water, we hear a sound emanating out, a voice crying out ever so faintly, as if muffled by traveling over a great distance. Anybody? Please! Anyone? The girl stoops down and dips her hand into the water and gives a gentle tug, but nothing happens. She tugs a bit harder and still nothing. She rolls up the sleeves of her blouse, plants her feet firmly, and tugs violently before something lets loose and she begins to stumble back. But instead of falling, she comes to rest comfortably seated on a log that must have fallen some time ago. She looks into her hands where the inky blackness is seeping out between her fingers, leaving behind a small patch of blood-red hair and a golden loop earring in her hands. Her view then hovers over the pool for a brief moment before plunging into it and surfacing on the other side, inverted from where we were before. This time, it's night and the fields now sparkle silver in the dazzle of starlight. A taller and fairer woman sits beneath a tall tree with a broken branch lying next to her, a scowl across her face as she rubs her head tenderly. She pulls down her hand to check it for blood, but instead of seeing the red stain of liquid blood, she sees a small tuft of blood-red fur and a silver loop earring. Suddenly, Elirlok jolts awake and reaches up to his ears to feel an earring missing from each one, and with it, a little bald spot. But before he can fully process, the coin resting in his hand begins to resonate and glow brilliantly bright, becoming so bright that it blinds him as he awakens once more. Joey, if you would for me, can you add an item to your inventory? The Coin of Fate? And get the +1, the very rare version.
Oh my.
Okay.
There's a few different things that I wanted it to do, but I wasn't able to make it do everything with just an item. So after you get the item in there, if you would go to your actual character builder and go to your subclass and change it from just the regular trickery domain to the trickery domain Elirlok that I made for you.
Oh my.
Oh,
my.
That's exciting.
Okay, so while he's doing that, y'all wake up the next day. It's a beautiful, cool, crisp autumn morning. You gotta kind of bundle up with an extra blanket this morning as you ride on your last day's travel to get to Okrajest. So it's the 34th. It does take you pretty much the rest of the day. You arrive in Okrajest around 4 p.m. the next day. As you come riding up towards the town, it's not an exceptionally large town. It's about the same size as Elirlok, but where Elirlok has a blend of weakly fortified space down in the grasslands and then a bit more fortified part of the town up on the hill, This one is heavily fortified with thick walls running all the way around the entire town.
Cool.
There's a couple of buildings outside of the walls, but for the most part, everything is inside. As you approach, you notice that it's got a pretty good hum of activity, people milling about here and there, but also just a ton of guards on ramparts and on walking around the top of the walls and stuff. Many more than you're used to seeing around Bilyatok. Yeah, as you guys approach, you see a large, what appears to be a inn on your left. It's got a sign on the front door that says the Manticore's Tail Tavern. Tail spelled T-A-L-E. And yeah, well, I will turn it over to you guys to say what you guys want to do now that you are in Okrajest.
So they let us in the gate?
You're not in the gate yet. I placed y'all just outside the gate. There's an inn outside the gate. There seems to be an old church outside of the gate.
Oh, so.
There's an outer wall area that seems to be mostly like shops and whatnot, and all those appear to be open to everyone. And then there is a more heavily fortified, gate walled section farther up ahead.
Very cool looking, by the way. This is sick. This looks like Okrajest, boys. I've only seen this city from the other side. I've never actually seen the buildings. Come down to the very south edge of Mekzim, you can see these walls from the north. This is the town that every young orc has dreamed of pillaging once or twice.
Oh my.
I just kind of chuckle and pat you guys on the back and head towards the tavern. Park my horse out here and head towards the door.
There's a little spot to tie off your horses with a little water trough for them. Seems to be a pretty good sized inn and tavern combo from what you can tell. You guys walk in. It's pretty quiet inside. There don't seem to be a lot of patrons here. Maybe a few people mulling around, but behind the counter, you see a very attractive elven woman. Shadow, you would recognize almost instantly that this is a lunar elf, in fact. And then standing next to her, you see a very grumpy-looking Snurf-Niblin, a dark gnome.
What's Snurf-Niblin?
A Snurf-Niblin. Dropped a little art in there just to get your brains a spin a little bit.
Is this a new race that we've never seen? Both of these?
The Snurf-Niblins. Do you remember Captain Shankblade?
Yeah.
He was in the very first poacher camp y'all ever raided. He was a dark gnome, a deep gnome.
Okay, but you're saying something Snurf-Niblin.
yeah, you know how D&D is. A Snurf-Niblin is another word for deep gnome. It's like,
okay.
And I don't think I'm saying it quite right. There's like a random V in the middle of it. I don't know.
I think you're doing great. I've seen the spelling of it. It's not fun to say.
Oh,
how
man.
fancy he is.
Yeah, so that's a pretty accurate Wonder image. He's got this kind of grumpy scowl on him and a little bit beard. The only issue is it wouldn't give him, purple gray flesh like he should have, being a Snurf-Niblin. Anywho, so as you walk in, the elf woman says, how do you do? Welcome to the Manticore's Tail. Anything I can get you this evening?
Yeah, what time do the gates open up at the fortress you got there?
Oh, fortress is a strong term for us, just our little town here, but it does keep us safe. The gates will be open till around dark, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock this time of year, I suppose.
Oh, okay.
I'll take a pint.
Oh, absolutely. My name's Evelyn, by the way. Evelyn Sharknuckle.
Sharknuckle. Talluk Grug. Pleased to meet you.
Grug, hey? You from the Grug clan, I suppose?
Yeah, well, I was at one point. Now I'm in just a guild member down in Bilyatok.
Oh, Bilyatok, long way from home. I figured you might be moving here from Mekzim.
No, I haven't been back to Mekzim in a few years now.
We've been sent to speak to the Baron.
The little guy's been quiet this whole time, just sipping on a glass of wine, and he kind of snorts when you say that. Huh. Good luck with that one. What business you got with the Baron? He kind of looks up at you, sips his wine.
You know, it's a great question. Maybe you could help us out as much as he can. We've heard some reports of some animals in the area that might not quite be acting normal.
Oh, yeah. You mean they'll catch you on fire and rip your throat out at the same time? Damn pests. Bad enough that we got animals running around all the time in this godforsaken shithole anyways. Now they start mutating with all sorts of nasty magic. Takes a big swig. Evelyn leans over. Don't mind Treffel. He's just a bit grumpy when he hasn't finished his glass yet.
Shadow looks at Talluk and Elirlok and looks back at the gnome. He's like, yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. Yep. So you've seen some of that.
Oh, all sorts of shit. Just yesterday, I was trying to take a shit. This slug comes crawling up my leg, starts burning the living shit out of me. If this place wasn't bad enough with all the... And he kind of looks at Talluk and he's like, the people that come in here that all over the place. Anyways.
Shadow's been sitting there looking puzzled and was like, I'm sorry. Are you saying that the slug burned you and it hurt like shit, or it acted as a laxative?
He scoffs. He's like, I like this guy. You got a good wit to you.
Okay. Well, do you know if the Baron's home?
Yeah, I'm sure he is. With all the shit going on. I'm sure he's holed up in his castle, dictating that, telling this, directing that.
I see.
So can anybody just walk up into the castle?
Sure as hell's not. Baron's a busy man, don't you know?
Well, how do we meet with this guy?
Now, Treffel, you're just being rude to our guests. I'm sure he'd see these fine folks. You said you're from a guild hall?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Billiard talk.
I'm sure you'd be able to get your audience with him, especially if he's expecting you.
I don't know if he's expecting us, but he's gonna be glad to see us. Talluk, get your pint to go. Ma'am, we'll be back. Can he take that with him?
Oh, yeah, let me just swap that pottery out for pewter real quick. She pours it over into another cup. There you go.
Pewter solo cup.
Yeah, it's got like the little ridges.
It's red.
Yeah, it's just like painted red.
Oh gosh.
Y'all think we can still get a meeting with this guy this late? Come on, let's try him. I think we got a little bit of daylight.
Y'all come back if you need a place to stay this evening.
We'll be back in a few hours. Thank you.
Alright, Treffel will be in a better mood once he has a few cups of wine.
Truffle?
Treffel. Yeah, it's truffle with an E.
Love it. He's like a little mushroom man.
Right. It's a truffle.
So you guys go riding up to the front gate, and the guard steps forward. Halt! Who goes there?
Confluence Guild Hall members, official duty, here to see Baron Shunfire.
Absolutely. Please present your credentials.
What's he talking about?
Shadow pulls out the Confluence Guild Hall Wayfinder and writ.
Oh, yeah, credentials. He's got them.
He looks over at it and says, looks good. Let him through! Hollers up, and they open up the gate.
Oh, nice gate.
He helps you as your old pie. Thanks, I helped fix it. So you guys go meandering up this hill. You go up to another gate, and as you come up to these guys, the guy just waves up, and the gate's already opening as you get here. They just kind of nod to you as you pass through. You're now within the walls proper, and this is just a representation, obviously, in Talespire. It's much bigger. There's, like I said, several thousand people live in this town.
Several thousand.
Cool. It's a fully fortified city.
Yeah, and as you're passing through it, it's really interesting. You notice that there's a surprising amount of new construction, and as you're passing by, you actually notice a building that is being repaired because it seems to have recently burned down.
Oh.
Do we see anybody out working on it?
No, it seems like the workers must have gone home for the day, but you can tell it's got, scaffolding set up and new framing going up and stuff.
Gotcha.
Is it obvious where the Baron's keep is, or?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. On this map, it's on the opposite side. I can zip you all over there. So you guys come walking up to what's clearly the Baron's estate here. It's much more a castle than Baron Devillia's estate is. It's, fortified. You can actually even tell that this thing's probably a keep in its own right. The guards stop you. Oh, hold there. What business have you with the Baron?
Confluence Guildhall members sent to speak to the Baron about y'all's animal problem.
Oh, excellent. Come on through. And he opens up the door. As he does, the guards inside stop you from proceeding. Hold on, sir. This human male walks up to you. He's got a similar beard to Treffle, actually, and older guy, probably mid-50s, and he's got these small little spectacles. He says, "May I see your credentials, please?"
Hey, do you guys allow outside beverages?
Yes, that will be fine.
Okay.
Shadow displays Confluence Guild, Wayfinder, and Writ.
Oh, excellent. The Confluence members. I assume you're here about the bounty. Please follow me. The Baron's expecting you.
Excellent.
I spill a little bit of the beer on this red carpet, and I'm like, fuck. I bend down real quick, try and wipe it up without him seeing.
He walks over to a man sitting behind a desk who's got a just glorious, for lack of a better word, mane all around his head. Why don't y'all make me a perception check, actually?
First good roll of the night. 22.
17.
17. So as you guys walk up to this man, appears to be a human man. He's got, like I said, these piercing blue eyes, rugged features, and he's got this hair and beard that encircle and ensconce his face in a way that really does evoke a sense of a lion. And his nose even has a little crease in the center that gives off the effect of it being like a cat nose. He looks up from his papers and listens to what his advisor whispers in his ear. He says, excellent, please have a seat. I've been expecting you. And he motions to 3 chairs sitting in front of his desk.
I'll pull up the stool.
I hear that Confluence Guild members can solve even the most tricky of problems.
Tricky.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but we do some damage out there.
Now that's what I wanted to hear. You see, I've recently been dealing with something that my well-seasoned and experienced garrison here is not used to dealing with. Normally we fight off orc raids on the regular and deal with the occasional odd boulette or two, but as of late, we've had an influx of normal everyday beasts becoming empowered by some sort of strange magic that, well, none of us can quite understand. He gives a quick glance back towards his advisor. Says, but regardless of the origin, the situation is that they've begun to encroach upon our town here. You see, there's a craggy valley just north of here, known as the Valley of Cinders. And as these animals have become more and more numerous, they've begun to fill up that valley and have started to bleed over and wander into town. I'm sure you noticed the new construction outside.
Yeah, Shadow's kind of muttering to himself. He's like, I really thought when we killed that stupid druid, this would have stopped. Yeah, Baron. Can I show you something right outside your front door there?
Certainly. He stands up from his desk and walks around. You notice he's like as tall as Talluk. Just this big old guy. Oh, and I had you guys roll a perception check. Shadow, with that perception check, you're pretty sure that he has some sort of Leonin blood in him.
Okay.
Lead the way.
This is Starlight. And Shadow activates double team on Starlight. Lightning starts crackling around Starlight's mane and hair and hooves, and
He starts
his
kind of
nostrils
shivering.
flare and he's shimmering. Is this what you're talking about, Baron?
The Baron reaches his hand out and kind of waves through the wobbly part, you know how you do like an optical illusion, and then reaches a bit more and lets his fingers just barely touch the lightning zippiness of it, and pulls his hand back and kind of feels his fingers. He says, "Yes, precisely. This is exactly what I've called you here for. These creatures are overrunning the place, and I need your help to eradicate them."
Well, if it makes you feel any better, you mentioned orcs and bullets and creatures with magical elemental properties. And if it makes you feel any better, we've recently dealt with all three of those things.
Ah, so it seems you are the men for the job. So, I'm not sure if Bushi told you the pay, but it's 2,400 gold to split amongst the three of you in order to clear out the entirety of the Valley of Cinders and slay all the mutated beasts there. Return here. If you need any sort of provisions or things of that nature, I have discretionary funds to provide to support that as well.
I have a question, Baron. What makes you think that these things won't just keep coming? What's the point of us going out and killing a valley full of corrupted beasts when we don't know where they're coming from?
My goal is to simply create a buffer between me and my city. The source of this, should you choose to pursue that, is up to you, but for now, I'm simply doing what I must to protect my citizens in a time of dire need.
Where would we find a library or some place where people around here study?
I have a fairly good library here, or rather Ingram does. Ingram! And the human man was standing, just a few feet back into the building, and he steps forward. Yes, sir. These folks wish to study in a library.
We accept, first of all. I think I speak for all of us, but yeah, I would like to have some time in the library with, what was your name again, sir?
My name is Ingram Tollpiece.
Ingram. We'd love to see the library. I'm sure all of us would like to ask you a couple of questions when our time here with the Baron is finished.
Well, it sounds like we're agreed. Ingram will arrange the funds once you return, and as I said, if you need any discretionary funds for food, weapons, armor, that sort of thing, he can arrange for that.
What do you mean by weapons?
Well, you'll look pretty well armed, as it were. I was thinking something simple like a replacement sword or bow, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to match the extraordinary nature of what you already carry.
Huh. I see. Baron, what kind of creatures? Because the only creature I've heard about so far was the laxative slug.
Oh, the old laxative slug. A classic. Sorry. I didn't have a good response ready for that. Well, the thing that made me determine that we were going to have a problem is several of my men were injured by some orcs. Are y'all familiar with orcs? The players probably aren't. Y'all don't even need to roll. Y'all's characters definitely would be. They're a bovine creature, kind of like a bison, but like somewhere between like a bison and a goat. They're like if a goat was bison-sized.
Oh, that's terrible. What? Spell it.
Auroch.
Oh. All right.
Power at looking stuff up. He said, anyways, a stampede of orcs, where they're very thunder of their hooves caused many of my men to become ill and wounded simply by being near it. Made me determine that perhaps this wasn't the right place for men of my talents. They're very good at fighting another armed force or defending walls, but going out into the middle of a valley and being assailed on all sides is not exactly what they're trained for.
That's what she said.
I don't even know what that means in this context. Is that a jest you make?
Wait, how many men did you have?
It was just a small scouting party that was out trying to figure out what was going on in the valley.
Yeah, how many? How many people?
Oh, I don't know. Half a dozen or so.
They're all dead.
None of those men died, but we have had one scouting party, 4 men, not returned at all. Normally I would chalk it up to orcs, but given the current state of things, I'm more concerned about these beasts.
Elirlok, you want to go hunt some giant goat bulls?
You lead, I'll follow. You're more familiar with these than I.
I must warn you about the valley. Stay within the valley at all times. There's rock elementals that live upon the ridges, and they claim that territory as their own. So do not try to journey up to the edge, or you will meet them. They are quite small, but I assure you, they are fierce.
Elirlok's having World War II flashbacks to the space whale, dirt whale, being thrashed to death by a rock beast.
He's like that dog in the GIF that's like making that PTSD face.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will definitely go make peace with the rock elementals and kill the goats.
Certainly. We do have an agreement with them that if we don't trespass on their land, there's no issue. So please don't upset that. It's tenuous.
I want to give them all hugs.
Okay.
Best
of
Baron,
luck to you all.
don't worry about it, Baron. Yeah, I just kind of like grab Shadow and lead him away. And I want to shout out towards this Ingram guy as kind of we split ways with Baron. And
Ingram stays behind as the Baron walks off.
okay. Hey, Ingram. Excuse me, Talluk Grug. Are you a wizard?
A pleasure to meet you. I dabble in the arcane. He kind of smiles a little bit for the first time since you've walked in.
It's pretty obvious this guy's like pretty studious.
Yeah, you definitely get the vibe that he's a smart feller.
I think I kind of like pull him out away from these guards, kind of towards us, like kind of, like walking that direction, not physically pull him, and just where we're kind of out of earshot with us. And I say
he's happy to chat around and walk out with you a little bit.
We've dealt with these corrupted animals, and we actually killed someone. I think that's known as the Druid. I guess that's common knowledge at this point. You may have heard of us. We're kind of a big deal, but have you ever heard in all of your studies about a strange primate man named Dr. Zaius or something? I think it was.
So let's see. So he nods, he says, "Oh yes, I actually have heard of your exploits with the Druid, so that was you. Oh, very good indeed. It seems we do have the right team on the job, as it were. Zaius, that name does not ring a bell."
Have you studied into the cause of all of this? Or, what's your thoughts on all of this?
I've been doing a little bit of research. Follow me. And he takes you into his lab. So y'all go in, and laying on the center of his work table, there's a little soft cloth laid out, just a plain square cloth. And in the center of it, you see a stone laying on it, and it's just a dull gray color, but it's got this very smooth, almost like polished essence to it, like a river stone. It's maybe 2.5 inches by 4 inches, little oval stone, and as you get closer to it, you can see that it's a little bit
Little
see-through.
chode.
Yeah, a little chodes. And he says, "We've been discovering some of these odd stones. I believe they might be connected to this whole event somehow, but this one seems to be inert. Some of the ones that we found are radiating a arcane energy when discovered. Tell me, have you seen anything like this before?"
Do I have those in the bag of
Oh
holding?
yeah, you've got like several.
We've
I
got
think.
like every different type, like dark stones, shadow stones. Yeah, I start reaching and pulling them out.
So one of the ones you pull out, the Thunderstone, looks just like this one, except yours is emanating some magic and has a cool blue glow to it. He says, fascinating. The gods have told me about the ones that are not inert, but I haven't got to hold one yet. Do you mind?
No, here. And I slide it over on the table towards him.
He takes it and mulls it over a little bit. He pulls out a loop and looks into it. Absolutely incredible. It's certainly an arcane energy. Doesn't seem to be anything divine about it. How did they get so much power in one little stone? And more importantly, who?
Well, why don't we leave this with you? And you take a few days or however long this takes us and see what you think about it.
Positively smashing idea.
Oh! He's Nigel Thornberry.
Oh, that's where you went with that? Love it. All right.
Smashing.
Smashing. Darling, you must say this. Man, we are dating ourselves hard with Thornberry's references. Golly. Okay. Yeah, he will happily take that off of you and give it a study.
You gotta look over to Shadow and Elirlok and make sure they're cool with that. Like, kind of give them a look. Like, huh?
Huh.
They're thrilled. Positively, smashingly thrilled.
Let us know what else you find out, and we've got a job to do. I look towards the other guys.
Well, let me ask you this: Are these goat monsters? Are they burning things? Are they? I mean, he said they were running with their hooves, and then people got sick. What's happening?
Yes, seems to be some sort of auditory response. He flicks the little stone you gave him, and it kind of lets out like this deep bass sound. And he's like, could be related to this, in fact. These stones were found by the same group that ran into those folks. But that's not all that's occurred. We've had reports of other issues, other elemental creatures, mostly small, but I'm certain there's some more that will be dangerous beyond just these aurochs. He says, let me show you here. I'll show you where the valley starts. And so he kind of draws on the map. The valley's almost like a S shape sort of thing. He says if you enter over here on the southwest side, you should be able to pass through the entire valley and clear the whole thing out from the southwest to the northeast.
What's this guy's name?
Ingram. Both eyes.
Ingram.
Just to really upset Seth's notes. Just be glad you didn't meet
So when they were getting sick, so their ears were hurting?
Yes, they mentioned a loud noise that caused them discomfort all over. Like they were being pressed in upon on all sides.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I say we hit the hay and head out at first light.
Do you have rooms for us here, or should we just go back to the inn?
Apologies. If you could make your accommodations at the end, that would be preferable.
Fine.
Certainly. Please keep all your receipts, and you can file an expense report when you're complete. As he said, incidentals are covered.
Oh, okay. We'll take your corporate card.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're a contractor, so we don't give corporate cards to contractors.
Shadow's walking off and looks at Elirlok and he's like, what the fuck is an expense report? And why do they have cards? What is a card?
I have no idea.
I'm so confused. Talluk is so versed in so many bizarre, barbaric things.
Strange magics of Mechzim.
I've never heard of the credit system in Mechzim. It's very advanced.
Oh, I'm from the woods.
Well, that's true. Come on, old man. Let's get you to the end.
I need to go to bed.
As you'll walk back in, it's a little bit later. It's a little bit more ruckusness. The folks chat you up, but you can be like, "Oh, just give us room." All right, so you guys go to bed.
Hey, Truffle.
Hey there!
I don't think I've introduced myself. My name's Elirlok.
Don't be so formal. Sit down, have a glass of wine with me. He just starts pouring some wine and pushes it over to you.
Sure. And I sit down, start taking a sip of wine, and swirl it around in the cup. And so, what do you know about lycanthropy?
Lycanthropy? Nasty ass werewolves. Sons of bitches, bloodthirsty Satan spawn, if you ask me. Some people say it's a curse and we should have mercy on them. Have mercy on this. And Evelyn bumps him. Please, these are guests. Treffle. Anyways. I don't know too much about it. Not much more than the average layman, I suppose. Why? What do you want to know? I might know a guy.
I'm just in the business to learn more about the curse itself and potentially how one might remove it.
Yeah, I think I know who you need to talk to. He leans around the corner and says, "Hey, Jaffrey!" Nobody responds. He says, "Jaffrey!" And this lizard folk person turns around and he's like, Oh, you're not Jaffrey. I'm sorry. I thought you were somebody else. My buddy Jaffrey. He's a really smart guy. You know about Praznich? You ever been to Praznich Desert? Anyway.
I'm sorry.
His speech is really getting bad. He's like, Jaffrey can help you out. But Evelyn walks over. He's like, Jeffrey's out of town, dear. Oh, you're right, honey. He smacks her ass. And she's like,
are they a couple?
They're our guests here, please. Jeffrey should be back in town in a couple of days, and he is a very smart man. He might can help you with what you're interested in.
Okay, perfect. I will be on the lookout when we return.
You don't be a stranger. That glass of wine's not gonna finish itself. You pass it over here. You give it here.
I'd walk away with it.
He's like, Susha's still. I will open another bottle. Says, you've had enough, sweetie. Go on to bed now.
Find out what happens to our party next week. Check us out at dndndummies.com. And please leave us a rating and a review on your podcast app. It would mean the world to us.